Hello, YouTube. Again, um, don't know if anybody's really watching, and I don't blame them. I'm not consistent, and these videos could be better, but I will keep making videos anyway. Anyways, what you're seeing in the background is me working on the storyboards for the little short story that I'm doing. So, they're just kind of the draft, whatever. And this is by far the easiest part. The hard part is following up with the finished, sketches and then, the inking. And then after inking, the toning and making sure all the values and everything is right. So, and also I have this unfortunate thing in that when I was writing it, it's supposed to be a short story, and I'm not thinking like maybe like 20, 30 page, no, 20 to 25, maybe 30. It ended up being 42 pages. That's still quite a lot of pages. It's a short story though, so it shouldn't be too hard, but still, part of me is a bit like, crap. It's just kind of, dang it. But, I think I want to go ahead and do it anyway. I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to do it, but, I'm not reducing the page size. I'm just not going to do it. I think the page size kind of matters. It's not going to be perfect, but again, this is like, hopefully, like a completely finished, comic, a little short story. I've done like a 3-page panel, but I never finished it. But anyways, about the story, it follows this younger, or I'm gonna call it like this disciple, and this younger girl. She's studying under a seer, and seers are basically these kind of, if you know anything about Arthurian legend, so you have this character named Merlin, and he kind of goes around and, he gives, what do you call it? He can help those in the present. He can tell the future, different things, like he can do magic or whatever and help them out and put things in their favor and everything like that. He's kind of like this guide or whatever, and something very similar to like a Gandalf as well. So seers are kind of like that. I still haven't figured it all out, like still working on how this is gonna work out, but essentially that's what's going on. And so Ambrosia, the younger girl, is struggling with her faith because she is still without the power that she needs, basically. And so she's waiting, and she's getting, very discouraged. And how it works is that it's the power that seers have is granted to them from above or from God, and so it's kind of like this thing that she's waiting for it, and she hasn't exactly been granted it yet, so she's really struggling. And so it's a story about having faith and a little bit about what faith is, and it's near and dear to my heart because it's something very similar in my own life that I'm still up and down and working through. Sometimes it's kind of hard to think about, like personally it's hard to think about, but when you can relate to something on a personal level, it does make making a comic or a story a lot easier. It's just true. Yeah, that's essentially what it is. And it's a little action, I don't even want to say action. I would really just say it's just stakes. This isn't really one of the comics where you really get to see what they can do. It's just kind of the general idea. Like you kind of get like a little glimpse, But what the power is called it's referred to as the eternal flame, basically. And it's a flame that they can wield, and it's like a supernatural flame. It's kind of like a normal flame, but kind of also supernatural at the same time. Yeah, I don't exactly know how to, I'm not about to get into it all the way, but yeah. So again, story about faith. Won't get into anything else about that, but yes. And that's what the short comic is about. But the world overall now is interesting, Now, when it comes to the world overall, like there's two sides to this, and I'm still figuring it out. Like so much of this is subject to change because I feel like there's a lot of the story that I feel like I understand or have an idea of where they can go, but right now it's really the world building that I'm finding a struggle because it's like, let me explain it like this. So I'm taking a lot of inspiration from Arthurian legend. It's kind of an old medieval that was created, I think, in the medieval times or whatever. And it's obviously about King Arthur and Merlin and just kind of the different adventures that King Arthur goes through with his Knights of the Round Table. So it's kind of episodic. Excuse me. You go from one tale to the next, a different night usually. And what I really liked about it was that which is really interesting because I was thinking about the story. I was thinking about like what to do or just other ideas, whatever. And I remember I was at Amazon. I was working at Amazon one time at a time. Used to, man, I kind of wish I could go back, but and somebody had ordered that, and I had saw it, and as I was like, and I think I had prayed like, man, I need inspiration for like what things can look like because I was already going in the direction of like a fantasy, but it's like I don't really know what to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when I saw that, it's like, it's kind of eureka, you know? So I read it, and when I tell you, when I read it, when I, got the Kindle thing, I don't know exactly which one it is, but, man, things just started, like, it was very, like, it sucked me into it, because I've never read anything about King Arthur. Like, I know of it, like, sort of Excalibur, but even then, I'd never even knew the story. Like, obviously, the Sword and the Stone, but that's as far as my knowledge actually went. King Arthur, the chosen guy who took it out. That is all I know. And any other things that come to mind is, like, Seven Deadly Sins, the anime, and that is absolutely not about hardly anything with King Arthur, really. It just kind of uses the characters. But anyways, what I really like about the story of like King Arthur and everything is that it has very normal and supernatural things just existing in the same place, and like this kind of, and it kind of creates this story that is kind of, you never really know what you're gonna get. You get really cool surprises and you get really tragic surprises as well. And they definitely were like different quests that they go on range from normal, tragic, weird, just kind of, I don't even say weird. It's more so, it's like normal, tragic, and then there's kind of supernatural kind of quests that they go on that is very weird, can have a very eerie feeling to it, and I kind of love it. But in general, it's like, I guess to give an example, if I can think of one. So there's one story called, or chapter, or whatever. It's the Green Knight, basically. And so there's this knight named Gawain, and there's this very mysterious and obviously odd knight that is all green. His horse, his armor, himself is just green. And so he obviously challenges all the Knights of the Round Table, and the only brave knight willing to go in, and he says, if any knight, he challenges them to basically chop his head off or see how strong they are if they can kill him with one blow. And so Gawain takes it on, and he does it. He cuts his head clean off. All right, it's kind of cool, right? And so the Green Knight picks up his head and tells him that, hey, that was great. Anyways, you're gonna come to meet me at a destination, and I'm gonna deal a blow to you. It's like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'll be shook, cause like, bro, cause I think the point was that he's a very big knight. First of all, he's weird. He's all green, so it's clearly something not right. And so you gotta wonder, like, what the heck was going through your mind, Gawain? Like, this is weird. He's weird. Why would you take anything he says and like listen to him? But Gawain does what he does. And so and I won't get into any much more, like, you can go figure that out on your own, but like, that's just a very weird, yet I think is very cool. And though obviously a lot of these stories do have lessons in them, especially the Green Knight one, there's some character things with Gawain. I think it kind of, his, definitely, it kind of at a certain point is like it's challenging his morality, his moral, or his how do you say, his I guess I could say his sexual integrity or purity, you know? Yeah, you'll, if you know the story, and when you read the story, I guess a few people that watch this, you'll probably find out what I mean by that. Just kind of being, you know, like resisting temptation, if you will, but also having like a moral standard, if you will. Anyway, but that's kind of like the more supernatural. You know, and there's some other stuff. I haven't read all of it. I definitely want to, but yeah, that's like definitely one example. Yeah, and so when it comes to this story, I'm excited to tell it. I'm just kind of worried because it's like I want to figure out how to do it all, because I definitely want this story to if I could tell you what the story, like in terms of faith and what I believe, is like I want it to be a story that is about people dealing with faith. Like it's not so much, I mean, don't get me wrong, I guess you could say it's not preachy. It's literally is like okay, so to give you an example, so I've been thinking a lot of making the nights or the night side of things. Like obviously there's some nights who genuinely do believe in God or whatever. You know, they try to live it, but like I think even history would kind of say, and even the Old Testament, like you can be culturally Christian or you can be culturally Jewish and your actions not necessarily line up with, you know, that very thing. And so that does bring a lot of different characters into the fold. Like the idea of knights do have a very Christian origin in terms of like chivalry and like just different things. I don't want to say it's completely, you know, religious. It's definitely not. I mean, they had standards that they would, you know, kind of go by, you know, like purity, like, you know, like different things, like, but you know, I don't know. I don't think I explained it the best way, but the point is that I kind of want the knights to be kind of culturally Christian, you know. It's like they're not all like out here pondering their actions and everything. Like some of them are just kind of living, you know, they're going through things, they're kind of going through life. Christianity is kind of like a given, it's the norm. Everybody, it's like they believe, but that's their culture that they live in or whatever. And so when it comes to like the main character, like his name is subject to change, but just the main character, it's kind of about him wanting to become a knight. He's a squire or whatever, and he wants to become a knight. And obviously it's not just about becoming a knight, it is about like coming of age, like life, like dealing with that, the trials and tribulations of life and everything, and faith, even meaning and purpose and value, you know, things like that. And I also wanted to, and with the seers or specifically, there's another main character. Her name is Elora. She's a young disciple, and it is kind of, and also I want the story to kind of be about, except it's like in a way, like I don't want to get into it, but it's like it is also on their side because they are more spiritual. It is more taken seriously when it comes to the seers, but it is, I would want to with her is like kind of explore a different side of it, and where the main character, the boy, he's coming into a real understanding and following, you know, what the Bible says and actually believing God, and like you're following him, like, because it's like I feel like it's kind of like it's known in their world or whatever, but when it comes to like actually living things out and considering, you know, like really considering that, you know, Jesus existed, like the things that he said was like, you know, like things that we do in our life, it does matter, right? And there's a lot even with that. I'm not getting into it, but to get over to Elora, you know, on the seer side and the more spiritual things, I feel like I would love with her specifically kind of the exploration of accepting faith for what it is. And that's all I'm gonna say. But it's like, it's dealing with Christianity. I mean, I'm a Christian, but it's like kind of those two sides of it. Like one is coming into really understanding it, following it, and believing, you know what I'm saying? Like trusting God. Like I feel like even in that, like they're both gonna have something to do with trusting God. It's just in different aspects. And that's definitely something that I want to do with this story, like the general, because what you're seeing right now is just like, you're basically seeing a backstory of Elora's mentor, basically. So when her mentor was a child or whatever. So that's what you're seeing right here. But that's pretty much it. Like, I don't really have anything else. Oh, wait. I do. I also want to talk about how in Arthurian legend, there's just different things, or even just the concept of fantasy, and that's kind of the struggle that I'm finding, because I do want there to be like a spiritual kind of with the seers, but there's still it's like fantasy. It's not like literal, you know what I'm saying? Like, I still want to be able to have fun with it. It's just more so that when it comes to like Arthurian legend, there's something I have to figure out. I have to read more of it. But if there's a lot of things that I do like about it, like there's kind of these really weird like concepts, such as like there's this lady apparently of the lake, and she's called the Lady of the Lake, Lady Nimoy or something like that. And I think that's just really cool. It's just very fanciful, you know, and that's definitely one of something like even certain nights. I can't even say it, like, but if I can remember it, I don't think I can. But like, it was just certain things. Like, I want it to be a fantasy that can pull you in, but that's something I have to learn how to do. But that's it. That's all I really have. So yeah, but try to get this short story out, and also try to make better videos, make more videos. I'm gonna say it like that. I don't know if this is better videos. Like, I don't know, but try to make more videos. But anyways, to whoever's there, till next time.